Okay. Good evening. This is Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and I would just like to say happy haircut day to you all. As you can see, I've gotten a new haircut today. But the purpose of me coming on live like this is to give an update as to the Hidden Creek Farm incident, or we probably should call it the Dalton Township incident. And I have some new information that's come in, and I'm coming to you from the patio instead of my office, the nerve center of the farm. And it's kind of a nice night out, getting a little cool wind coming from the north here. But this is where we spend a lot of time in the summer out here and just enjoying the weather. And you know, I have the opportunity to live in peace on my farm, and we would like to see that the proprietors of Hidden Creek get to live in peace on their farm. That was the reason for delving into this like we did. And please don't be offended if I don't respond to the messages that you have for me here, but it throws me off when I try to read those and keep my thoughts lined up. I don't multitask as good as I probably should. But tonight, you're going to be able to read the lawsuit. It's going to be posted on the Hidden Creek Farm Facebook page. Now, there was a little bit of trouble with that. We weren't sure if some of the legal beagles involved here were going to have a hard time with that, but the okay was given to post that. And so if it's not posted right now, it will be before the close of business tonight. And they're farmers, so they're up late. Okay? So you can go there and you can read it. And the reason I'm highlighting that is because I've received probably 1/10 of the phone calls that have gone to Dalton Township, then are calling me and saying, hey, you're giving bad information because I just called there. And the supervisor down there, Tony Barnes, is saying, we're not suing Hidden Creek. And I don't know what to tell you. He even had me going for a minute. You know, I had to get a hold of the lawsuit and actually read it for myself. Although when it was first given to them, I was down at their farm the Thursday night it was presented to them by a process server. So I read it then, and I thought, yeah, they're being sued. I mean, there's a routing number on it and everything. You can go to the... but anyway, that's going to be on the Hidden Creek Facebook page tonight. So go there and look at it. Another thing is they're not answering the phones there at Dalton Township now. That's their latest strategy. So good on you. I mean, I would keep calling and keep leaving messages and keep asking questions, because these people are our servants. They are public servants, and they work for us. And for them to decide that we're not going to answer the phone anymore, or we're not going to answer your questions anymore, is sort of like if you had an employee and they decided they weren't going to answer phones anymore. That's unacceptable. That's what you're there for, is to answer the phones. And those people, all of them are making pretty good money, too. Okay. I would like you to understand that this action is being taken by what we are referring to as the Alliance. And there are several entities that are involved in the Alliance. And at one point, you know, like the Farm to Consumer is contributing some of their resources to this. The Michigan Small Farms Council is contributing some of their resources. And then there is a large body of people, some of them farmers, some of them not farmers. There are some paid people here, some attorneys. But everyone believes that this cause is worthwhile, it's worth fighting for. And the cause is freedom. And that's what we're fighting for. We have a township that is actually piling on with a neighbor. A neighbor went to the township and said, I don't want these people farming next door to me because they have a plant sale and people park in the road, similar to when there's a yard sale and people park in the road, or a wedding and people park in the road. It happens. I mean, that's just the way it is. But this guy didn't like this, and so he hired a lawyer. He's a grumpy old guy, and he sued them. And then he went to the township, and the township said, "Farm? What farm?" And then they went and looked at it, and they said, "Oh, we're going to sue you too." So the grumpy old guy is suing these people, whatever. He's not going to get anywhere. In Michigan, we have the Right to Farm Act. Supersedes any of that. These people are what's called GAMPS compliant. So that means they've had people from the Department of Agriculture to their place and have looked the farm over and said, "No, you guys are doing things right." I was there myself. The place is very nice, very well taken care of. There is no smell. Everything is manicured very well, very well. The people that are running it, it's Crystal and Lee. Lee works during the day as a machinist. Crystal takes care of it the majority of the time. I'm pretty sure. Lee does what he can when he gets home, but that's pretty average setup for a farming operation. And they have a few beef, probably about 20 pigs, a lot of chickens, a lot of produce, and cut flowers, and they have a herd of goats, and they milk them, and they do milk shares with people that live in their community. So they do quite a bit of business with people in their community, and everybody loves them. I do have some notes here. I don't usually do the notes thing, but this is the alliance that is doing this. And the alliance is a pretty loose group of people that have all had some sort of contact with this type of thing at this point. And now all of you who have gotten involved here and have made phone calls, stepped out of your comfort zone to come to the rescue of a small farm, you're now part of the alliance. And I think that we will probably hear more of this in the days to come, and we will call on you again. I'm sure we will, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that you've stepped up and done what you could here. We haven't needed any money up till this point. We have done a T-shirt drive, and that's also available. You can see that on the Hidden Creek Facebook page, and I would encourage you to go there and buy as many of those T-shirts as you can. They're really nice. People are buying them, and then they're posting pictures of themselves on Facebook, and we're all kind of getting to know each other on Facebook. It's pretty cool, and I really like it. Let's see. Okay. The next thing is Monday the 10th. There is going to be a township meeting, and I am personally inviting all of you at this point. It's going to be down in Muskegon. You'll need to go to the Dalton Township Facebook page, right? There's a lot of other good information on there that people are posting. It's a public page. Then you'll be able to see the address where it's going to be held. I'm told that there's too many people going, that they had to move it to a bigger venue, and this is our power. This is the power that we have. You don't need to go there and have a relay race. You just have to show up. You just have to be there at 5:45, get a seat, meet some of the other alliance members, and be there for it. That is the power that you have as a citizen here. I want to do a little educating here, because so much of this I did not understand as well as I do now, having gone through this type of thing. If you don't know what happened at Baker's Green Acres, we had the Department of Natural Resources make a proclamation. They made what they called a declaratory ruling. They declared, right? And they're a department. They don't make law, but so many of us don't know how our government works that we think they do. But they made a declaration, sort of like an ordinance, that if you have a pig that has one of 9 characteristics, that you can no longer have that pig and you have to get rid of it. Well, this is what I did for a living. And so all of a sudden I was faced with, Department of Natural Resources telling me, you got to get rid of these because we friggin' say so. And here I was, an American GI that had taken an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution said that my life, liberty, and property is protected under due process of law. And these guys are saying, you got to get rid of it because we friggin' say so. And I didn't know which carried more weight. Luckily, through the whole process, we found out that, in fact, the United States Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and I recommend people go and download the Bill of Rights all the time. I recommend it all the time. It's one page. Read through it. First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, and so on to 10, is the supreme law of the land. So when a township comes out with an ordinance saying, we don't want you to farm because we friggin' say so, and you have a law that is the Right to Farm Act, which is a law that backs up the Fifth Amendment, which says your life, liberty, and property is protected under due process of law, that ordinance is somewhat repugnant to the law of the land, and it needs to be just looked at with disdain. Instead, what the township did was they hire a lawyer, and then you get a process server coming up your driveway, and he says, here, wham, gives you a stack of papers, and wow, I'm being sued. And, your next step is you got to get a lawyer. So you got to go find a lawyer, and they want, a big retainer, $2,500, $5,000, that you don't get back. And you don't know this lawyer from Adam. They may be golfing buddies with the judge. You have no idea. But you don't have much choice. You either comply with what the township wants or you fight it. Most people don't have the wherewithal to fight it. And the tragedy here is the township is using funds that they have taken from the wealth producers amongst us. People at the township, they're parasites. They don't produce anything. All they do is take from people. And then they hire lawyers to make you comply with their bullshit rules. Excuse my French, but that's what it is. They're bullshit rules. Their ordinances, especially if they're repugnant to your constitutional rights, which people have fought and died to maintain, it's bullshit. That's all it is. And it shouldn't be going on. I'm sorry, but there's no other word that fits that as well. And I can get a little heated about this because I've actually served my country, taken an oath to protect and defend that Constitution, and I have lost people along the way that were, diligently doing their duty and lost their lives so that some weenie at a township can say you can't do this because we say so. No, I have a problem with that, and we should all have a problem with that. And this pertains to more than just farming operations, but this is an obvious one. And anyway, I would be greatly served here by you all if you would please show up at this meeting at 5:45 next Monday. It's down in Muskegon, Michigan. I'm going to be driving a couple hours to be there, but it is so important that we all show up. It is so important that we show up. What you need to know is this could be you. I mean, these people were getting up in the morning, going to work, toiling over their 18-acre farm to scrape out a living. That's all they were trying to do. And maintain their home, maintain their animals. They don't have children yet. And here you get some township people that just, on a whim, and that's basically what it was, because we've uncovered the fact that they didn't vote on this. This is just this. It appears it's just the supervisor and the zoning person that made a decision to just do this. So there was no meeting of the board of people that are elected to oversee this township. They just did this, and then it seems as though they falsified paperwork on the tail end of it to make it look good. So there's going to be a lot come out here, but I would really appreciate it if you'd show up at this meeting. I'm going to be there. I'm going with a group of people, and we're just going to be, peaceful. I want to explain something to you that helps things come into light. There's a term that gets thrown around quite a bit. I never understood what it was, but it's a FOIA request. And FOIA is an acronym for Freedom of Information Act. It's a law. All right. The people at the township, they are employees of the people of the township, of the citizens of the township. The people that work there in the township building, they work for the citizens, right? So, in essence, you can waltz in there and say, get up from that computer, I want to see what you're doing. In essence, you can, because they work for you. Now, you probably wouldn't do that, and it would be a little awkward if you did, but in reality, you are privy to every bit of information that is on those computers in that office. You are privy to every dollar that is taken in there, that comes in and goes out. Every decision that's made, all the minutes from the meetings, the minutes are recorded of what was suggested at the meeting, what was, decided that they were going to do. And these people are supposed to be doing this in the best interests of the citizens of the township. It doesn't always work that way, but the Freedom of Information Act ensures that when you say to them, I would like to see the meeting minutes from this particular meeting, they are required by law to get those to you in 5 days. Or, meeting minutes, you don't have to FOIA them. But let's say there's been email communication about Hidden Creek Farm amongst the different people at the township, and you say, I want every bit of it. Then they have a FOIA officer that's got to go through and do a search, anything that has to do with Hidden Creek Farm, and they have to send it to you. They have to. It's the law. They have to. It's the law. It's a guideline that protects you from this type of shenanigans where the supervisor and one other employee decide, hey, we're going to make them do this for whatever gain they've decided. I don't know why they did it. It was not smart what they did. So that's a FOIA request, and our FOIA person in the Alliance has requested a lot of information from them, ranging from communication, interdepartment communication, to how much money that they've brought in variances and special use permits. We just kind of like to know that, and as citizens, we have the right to know that. And I used to think when I was going through this whole thing that, boy, I'm kind of putting those guys out. Well, that is their job. That is their job. They don't get, as public servants, they don't get to have private communique in between people there. Everything that they do, every function that they do on their computers, everything they write down, we are privy to it. When they go to meetings, they're required to take notes, so that when the citizens come along and say, I want to see that, they better have notes. It's not okay to destroy or delete emails. You can't do that. Those emails belong to the people of the township. You're working for the people of the township. It's like if you had an accountant working for you in your business and they just decide that they're going to delete a whole bunch of emails. That wouldn't be right, and it's incorrect. And there's a trail. I mean, you can figure out what's been deleted, and it can be picked up on. All right, so this is kind of the attitude that I think people need to adopt when we go to this meeting. Now I'm told at this meeting they're not going to take any questions. Well, I think that we should approach this meeting as sort of a an employee feedback session. So we're going to go into this. Of course, they're going to be sitting up a little higher than us, I would reckon. And we're going to say to them, you have 3 minutes to speak. Where do they get off giving you 3 minutes to speak? We're the boss, but anyway, so we get 3 minutes to speak. And if we ask questions, I'm told they're not going to answer those questions. So in my mind, if you have employees sitting up there and they're given questions by their employers and they say, we're not going to answer those questions, in my mind, I would say, well, then I'm not going to vote you back in. I want employees up there that have answers for the questions. What? You have no answers for what has gone on here? I think you should, if it's all above board. The supervisor, the zoning person, you should have answers for us as to what has happened here. Okay, I want to keep this as short as possible. Last couple of videos, I didn't ask you to share it, but I'm asking you now. This is very important to share this around and get as many people up to speed on this as possible. I think we're in an age where, through social media, what we're experiencing is actually a very different thing. Normally, when this happens to a farm, they might know a couple people in the community, maybe even they went to high school in that community, but that's not really enough. They drag you into a courtroom, there's a guy in black robes, and there's a couple of lawyers in there, and they decide your fate right then and there, and there's nothing you can do. If the township had their way here, and they won this lawsuit, here's two young people that would be out of a job and out of a place to live. They've poured their heart and soul into this place for 5 years now. They were good buddies with the neighbor. He used to come over and do a little plowing for him, drive over with his gator with his grandkids in there, and they was good buddies. And all of a sudden, he just had a problem with parking. They had a plant sale, and there was some cars out in the road. The township is maintaining that, it's a safety issue, so we got to get involved. Hey, listen, township, we didn't ask you to get involved on safety. We'll take care of that. You need to stay out of the way, make sure the bills are paid, make sure the roads are paved. But what we do on our private property, none of your business, and you stay out of it. I'm starting to question, now this is just a question that I have, why are some counties zoned and some are not? Now, I happen to live in a county that is not zoned, and it is not like the Wild West. This place is well maintained, well taken care of. People know what to do. They don't need to be told what to do by some zoning guru, right, that is going to tell you you can't have a refrigerator out on your front porch. Most people don't, right? It's just gone on too long. Anyway, I will see you there Monday, and hopefully we can get together and shake hands and stuff like that afterwards, and there will be more information coming. I'm just scratching the surface of this at this point. Please go to the Hidden Creek Farm Facebook page, take the virtual tour, get to know these people a little bit, and just know that next time it could be you. A lot of skeeters out here. This is Mark from Baker's Green Acres. Anyone can farm.